Welcome to Forever Home channel. On this platform, we discuss all things related to Ghana and Africa. Our real estate company, Royal Consulting Solution, is the foremost location for all your land acquisition, building needs, relocation, and starting a successful business in Ghana. We also provide quality information through our consultation and webinar series. We can be reached at royalconsultingsolutions.com. Come join the trusted source for all your reliable information. Hello. Thank you, everyone. Today's was Saturday, some Saturday in December. I hope all is well with you, like you know, on the regular schedule every Saturday, 11:30 Central Standard Time. And anyway, so obviously it's very important to check audio and sound. Let me know. I see some eyeballs over there checking. And then we can continue with this discussion. Anyway, so hopefully some of you can join. I'll post the link. Let me copy the link here. So that if you want to join in on the discussions, I like to hear what you have to say on this topic, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. Anyway, hopefully you are well. Let me see who's in the house. Steven is here. Jojo B, thank you. Eve. Loud and clear. We good? Okay, we're good. So today I wanted to share some things that I've been thinking about with you guys, just to, because there's a lot of distractions going on, and so just to get you put things in perspective for you or add to your piece. And then one of the things, the gift that the maker gave me was a gift of observations, to just try to figure things out that is going on into the world, dabbling a little bit of history to understand where we are and where we're going. Okay. And so the title was of this conversation is, if Africa is weak, what happens to all its children, right? And so one of the things that you have to figure it out is, how come some nations are very powerful? How come certain groups get a lot of respect, no matter where they are in the world? And I've been thinking about these, particularly because we seems to, catch hell, everywhere we are. And I'm trying to figure what is going on. And so I'll give you 4 examples. This is how you know a country has influence and power, right? How they're able to do that. So four countries, and then people can chime in, and then we can take it from there. Okay, I'll start with China, right? 40 years ago, communist China, evil China. That was what they were known. That's what they said about them. What did China do? Hunker down, unified, and build an incredible country, and now has a great influence. And there's no doubt in the next 100 years it will be China as well. Okay, there's no country they don't influence right now. Okay, so they hunker down. And you see this Chinese influence. I remember 2017, United Airlines incident in which a Chinese native was pulled because there was overbooking. And in the process, he broke his nose and was injured, right? His name was Dr. David Dow. I remember that incident, April 2017. And you remember United Airlines came back. The first statement they made was they apologized for some of the customers that have to remove because the flight was overbooked. And so I remember posting it on one of my platforms in my group. I said, watch China's response, right? So the next day, the CEO, Dr. Muniz of United Airlines, came back and apologized to the gentleman, saying that no human being should be treated this way. What a lot of people didn't know, which later became public, was that the Chinese officials have spoken to him, and he was summoned at the consulate in Chicago, Chinese consulate, to have a talk. And the Chinese made it clear that their citizens are not going to be discriminated or abused, as there will be consequences. So 24 hours, He came back, writing a long apology publicly, to the Chinese native, and then basically what people don't know was United at that time was flying 96 flights to China in a week, which equate to about 20% of the flights from US to China at that time. And so China has the leverage. And so United came back, apologized, took the responsibilities for everything that happened. And guess how much they paid a gentleman? $140 million settlement, right? Because the Chinese people didn't have to match. They didn't have to put hashtags, but they knew the blowback. They knew that China was no joke. And if they don't do what they need to do, it's going to cause them economically, right? Another country, Russia, right? Take how you look at it. No Russian citizens will be abused or be taken advantage of anywhere in the world because the Russian state would necessarily intervene. It might be a military response. So you don't hear any Russian speaking natives or Russian citizens anywhere in the world because of their influence. Another small country, that is Israel, right? Israel, you are not going to be killing an Israeli citizens or abusing anywhere in the world because Israel will make sure that it handle that, whether decades later or or for perpetuity, they will handle that. And Israel also has allies that would help in hunting you down to do that because of influence. Okay. The last country, the United States. Okay. United States is a little bit tricky because if white American citizens are abused or kidnapped somewhere in the world, it is fair to say you will get a response from the American government, one way or the other. And so the question is, do black people, if you're a black American citizen and something happens to you in the world, are you going to get the same equal response? And the question is, you have to decide that for yourself, how that is going to go. And what it is, you start with economic base, right? And the reason why black people don't gain a respect no matter what happened to us, whether in the Caribbean, whether in Europe or in the United States, even on the continent, is because you don't have any power. And when you don't have power, you don't get respect. That's the law of nature, and that's what it is in the world. So you don't have respect, so people can abuse you anywhere, and so that is what it is. Until Africa becomes strong, at least economically, start from there to like what China is doing right now, leveraging its economic influence over any country, including the United States. Um, you are not going to get respect. And so when you have a situation in which Africa's children all over the world has been fractured, whether by design or by cooperation or by choice, what is going to happen is you are even weaker, right? You are going to be weaker, and so if something is happening to us in the United States, what is going to happen is you might get a hashtag, right? You might get a hashtag, you know. That is how far it goes on the internet, right? And so the key is, how do we, develop ourselves to sometime, several generations, we can gain the respect and be treated with dignity, and stuff like that. So that is the solutions, right? And there's a question about this is true when, my brother put in this comment about, there was an incident several years ago, I think 2 years ago or something, when Ghanaian citizens were kidnapped, I believe in Kumasi. I believe they are still missing. But then when the Canadian girls, I think two girls were kidnapped, within a week, Canadians were there. And then within, I think it was a short notice, within a week or two, those people were found, right? That is power. That is leverage. That is taking care of your responsibility, right? And so how do we do that? How do we leverage ourselves? How do we put ourselves in a situation that we have leverage? Because when people respect you, there's a way they don't treat you because there's consequences, with economic consequences or retaliation, in some way. And when you don't have that, it's going to be difficult for you to demand. You can demand all you want, but power sees nothing, right? So unless you have power, you're not going to get that respect back. And you can claim the rights. Somebody should be giving you a right. I don't even understand why another human being should give you rights. That's problematic. They can do drip, give you one every decade and stuff like that. So that would be a problem. Now in the United States, primarily, there's a discussion going on with Black people. There's some that say there should be some kind of separation among the Black people. That's another thought. And so, and some say, we need a revolution in the United States. Um, I don't think that is productive either, because it would just be a revolution in the United States, the way the country is designed and was, put into being. It is going to destroy anything that poses as a threat, domestic or international. So I don't know how Black people are going to start a revolution for the following reasons, right? That's not going to work. No military force. We don't have a military force. We don't control our weaponry or ammunitions, i.e., manufacturing. The way the urban cities were, which are densely populated with Black people, the way they were designed, it was planned for a way with an interstate highway between these neighborhoods. It was designed to actually be able to control whether whenever there's some insurrections or somebody knew what they were doing. We don't have independent communication capabilities. I'm not talking about radio. You don't have internal or external allies that will come to your aid, or you're gonna get the hashtags. No unity and cohesion among the Black people, so that leads to easily infiltration. So whenever you come up with 10 people or Black people to do anything, one of them's going to tell. So I don't really think you have the odds against you. You will be fighting with an adversary who is trained, who has the will, he has the pedigree to annihilate you uh, without thinking about it. Has the capabilities and everything to do that. And so it's a suicide mission. So foolish. So please don't co-sign your brothers and sisters into that kind of nonsense. Instead, I think what we need to do is work the economic route. Okay, if we can mobilize tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people to protest, I think we can use that same capability to mobilize our people for economic cooperation. Okay, so I think um, all the problem seems to tie with economics, right? So we have to start with that, build the economic unity within all the diasporan and also within the continent. Invest in the motherland, invest in its potential, and then we need a lot of our people to be professionals, right? To go into industries, like law, to get into science, to get into technology, engineering, military, the police force. We need our people to able to get into those industries, because it will take time. It will take time to be able to do that. Other than that, the bravado is going to get you killed. You're not going to do it, because you got to be careful on the internet too. There's a lot of people that will push you towards, do this, kill them all, right? And these people are probably like, working with somebody, right? And so you have to be smart about these things. Unless defense, you have a right to defend yourself. I subscribe to that. Exercise your Second Amendment to the fullest, but you are not in a position to do any offensive capability. You are not going to be able to do that, because any group you form here, there'll be agents. They'll infiltrate it easily. Some of our people will do it for free. That's how we are. And so they were destroyed. Other organizations have come and go, and they cut off the head of the snake and stuff like that. So you can't do it. You just no serious nation, no strong nation will allow any group that can become adversarials to gain strength and challenge them. Nobody does that. I wouldn't even do that. See what I'm saying? So you are not going to be able to do that. So for me, the way I look at it, like, listen, economics, because there's also a thought over there. One of the things that is causing a lot of the separations. I'll post the link here. Um, Let me give a small shout out here. Okay, Kedo, Duku, thank you for joining. If Eve is here, Elizabeth, thank you. What a lady, thanks for joining and everything. Yeah, so leverage. Yeah. So um address that. I saw that. Address the leverage part. So one of the issues that we have right now is that's creates some of the division because I feel like and we have reparations is coming, so the tribes are separating to get the money. But this is the way I look at it, right? Um, Something can be yours, but if you don't have a leverage, like a really, really serious leverage, um, which what I consider leverage is the ability to make another person give you at least some of the things you want, else there is great consequences to that person. That's leverage. And so if you don't have that, then you are the mercy of the person who has control. So something can be rightly yours, but it can be taken. But then you have, if you don't have any ways of means of getting it back, then it's like, what is the point? You're gonna go start a war. It's not going to. It's just not. No. Yeah. It's just that's 2 weeks. That would be squashed in 2 weeks easily. Uh, because 90% of the people won't fight. They will surrender right away. The 10% you're gonna have least. Uh, a lot of them will be informants, traders in there. They will giving you position. No, it's not going to work. So economic leverage that is used by China, the country that use that most right now is China. Is I think that's the future to go to. In the process, yes, you can defend yourself when you need to, but I wouldn't say, uh, this revolutionary talk and everything's just gonna bring attention to you, and it's gonna all it takes is cut off the head, get a couple of people, jail them, and people will be talking. They'll make up stuff that was not even part of the whole story, and that happens to the earlier Black Panthers, or the freedom fighters that went earlier. Is the same thing. So I think you learn from history and you adjust, and you see what works, and don't the issue that sometimes don't hate your adversary or even your enemy to the extent that you can't learn nothing from them, right? Because remember, the United States government will suppress any group. Take the whitest state, I don't know, Maine, Vermont, or something like that. If today, Vermont or Maine decides they want to separate themselves from the United States government will exercise every disposal military to squash that. So if they're willing to do it, they are white citizens. I don't think don't get it twisted. Okay. So let me bring this back here. This video, I wouldn't say we have leverage. Okay, so if you don't have now, Elizabeth, you can join the post the link here, and then we can discuss more. What leverage do we have? Maybe we have some to some degree. We can share that. Um, so let's see. Yes, so that's what it is, right? Like Keduku said, yeah, right? It's war. It's always war. Nature is war, right? Nature is war. And so, but sometimes you pick your battles, because I don't believe in suicide missions, So, um, and stuff like that. So it's like pick your battles, but plan very well. Um, Elizabeth, you want me to? I know you're an agent. Yeah, we need you here. We even agents have you know, I invited to also share. We might learn a thing or two, and stuff like that. So the issue is this. Listen, um, above all, be disciplined in yourself. Have your own goals. Have your own priorities. Don't get caught up in somebody's thing, because is we must study. We must really study history. See Elizabeth, I'll bring in a bit. We might study history, um, and we may understand what it is that you're about to deal with. And sometimes it's not necessary, because if you're going to go into a battle and you have maybe 1% chance of making it work, I don't think it's I'm not gonna do that unless if I'm in a defensive mode. But I'm not gonna go to offense of something that the odds are so great. It's not worth it, right? Okay, so we have the brave Elizabeth here to join us. How are you? What
I'm
are
fine.
you?
How are you?
To show your face, right?
Because it's 10 p.m. here. I have on my robe.
Uh, okay, all right. Let's keep it this way. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm just you were saying what kind of leverage do we have? One of our biggest issues as a people, and you know this yourself, is supporting black owned businesses and being unified in that at all costs.
I think you are cutting out a little bit. Can you hear me? Okay, we lost Elizabeth. I think she'll come back. So I'm gonna wait till when she comes back, and then she can continue her thoughts, because I thought like she was making some good points over there. So the rest, don't be scared. So anyway, let's let's see who's here. Yep, let's see who's here. Okay, so don't be afraid. Depopulation. Yep, yep, yep. I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. Right. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and so we really really have to be careful who has the voice, because by the end of the day you can only control what you can control, right? Build your economic base, work with people that like you, that understand this thing, because this is a long road to our liberation. It's going to be a long road. I'm looking at this like generational. So every generation build upon the next generation, and so that is the only way you do this thing. So hopefully, my thing is, hopefully every generation gets better because of what we've done. So we can set other generations back, um, and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at with that. So let me position. They won't touch Africans because they need cheap labor. Brianna Day, call it in and break this down further for us. Um, and let me add one more thing here. Study history. Good. Yes, 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 yes. Remember too, one of the things that make it challenging in the United States for Black people is this. Remember, because of the history of slavery, remember, uh, Black people were molded. So think about it this way: if you control something for a generation, you can control his habits, you can control his thoughts, his patterns. So you can know his weaknesses and his strength, and that'll give you a lot of leverage to figure it out, how to deal with that, right? And so that is one of the challenge. That is why whenever we poke our head out, they can easily squash it. And now Elizabeth is having technical issues, unfortunately, but she talks about uh, you know the economic leverage. Only if we concentrate on that, because we don't even support black owned businesses. Okay, so she's here. I'm gonna let her come in, and oh, she's gone again. Oh, technical issues, definitely. Um, and only that I can say that you have that leverage. But right now, there's even this in-house nonsense going on. Different groups, everybody's creating the stuff, which doesn't even help. Um, Now you make it even easier for infiltration, right? Because why people are studying history and united, you think all the Chinese people are united? No. All the Asiatic countries are united? No. All the white people are united? No. But when it comes to world dominance, they get together. Okay, Lizzie Beatty, are you there?
I'm here. Okay.
Go ahead.
Ever since, anyway. So I was saying, in terms of leverage and us having some, our first line of defense is actually dealing with finance. Because if we pull back our monies, we can get stuff done. The best example of that is the Montgomery bus boycott down in Alabama. They boycotted the bus system well over a year, crippled the freaking bus system, the transit system there, until they said we can sit anywhere. Now, I have to tell you, I'm not a proponent of of integration. I'm not, because I feel like blacks in America, the black family lost a lot with all that mess going on, because we want people to accept us. And so that leads to other issues. Um, so I think the first the first leverage we have is finance, finance, finance. Just in the U.S. alone, when you think about how much money black women, pump into the hair and beauty industry, we're talking about billions of dollars. The leverage with that, we can bring people to their knees and say, we're not going to support you based on X, Y, and Z. So I think that's one mechanism, because it seems like every time that we decide to mirror systems like theirs, we get infiltrated by the ops. I mean, like Evie was talking about Grandmaster Jay. Well, this is not the first time in recorded history that the United States government has been complicit in denigrating a black man for fighting for his people. This is not the first time, nor would it be the last. So again, I think that we can do a lot, and I'm for the First Amendment rights, just as an American. However, I don't live there. You all do what you do. But money talks. It does. We can definitely change the game. If you're familiar with the hair care industry in the States, and how the Koreans came in and took over all of the distributorships and basically locked out black people from owning beauty supply stores across America, you can see what that means. They use that as a means to empower their own. So when they came from Korea, they could actually have a business in an industry that they basically fortified. So I say again, finance, finance, finance. What are your thoughts, Tony?
Good point. Let me ask you a few questions. Okay, so
Okay,
let's say so we're gonna keep it 100, right?
keep it.
Keep it 100. So let's say a Korean open a store in a black neighborhood, right?
Yes.
And a sister open similar store. Where do you think our people will go?
Wait, repeat that again. Repeat that for me
So
again.
a Korean open like a hair store, right? Hair
Mm.
care products. A sister cross the street, duplicate the same thing. Where do you think our people will go?
So of course of course, again, they're going to, so yes, they're going to go to the Korean. One, it's been there, it's established. Remember, before I got cut off the first time, my thing is that we have to support Black-owned businesses. That is imperative. That is imperative. So if your mindset is not right, yeah, you're going to go over there. They've been established. That's where you've been going. But you should be supporting your sister. Agree. Okay, your next question.
Okay. So what if they happen to be there at the same time? What is our tendency?
No,
What do you
no.
think? What do you think? If you are guessing, what do you think? Where do you think our people will go? Will go to?
I already told, I know where they're going. But
let people know where they go.
No. I know they're going to go. They're going to go to the Korean. I said that.
Okay.
And my point is, though, my point is, all of us are not of that mindset, Tony. I'm gonna use myself as the cookie cutter template right here. I do not buy anything that I don't seek out first to see if there is a Black person that has that. That's how I am personally in my life. I don't care what I buy. That's what I do. And then if I can't find the comparable item that I'm looking for, then I go elsewhere. This goes from my eyeglasses to the clothes I wear. This is my life. I live by this mantra. I mean, I've done videos even on my channel saying, if you go to a car that, let's say you want to buy a Toyota, okay? And where you live, there are no Black-owned Toyota dealerships. If you cannot go outside your state or expand your search to get that, then okay, go ahead and do that next thing. But seek your own first. We typically just do not do that. We just don't. But we need to start doing that because, as I said, there is money in where there's leverage in the economic power of our money. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So no. So good point. So there's two things. One, the inclination to patronize with our people first. I think a lot of us have to do more of that. So that is one. The other thing too is we don't have the availability, right? Like you said, right? So what I see other groups do, like for example, if one group wants to make a car, right? They say, listen, okay, I'm going to make a car. They say, listen, I want you to go make the engine. Oh, you got to paint, you got the doors, you got electronics. You guys do this thing. You work on that, right? So then they set up businesses strategically to support the complete vehicle. So they have no choice, or there's some kind of cohesion, and they understand group, politics and group economics, that they must patronize. Okay, so our thing is too, if you want to boycott, the reason why boycott now is not ineffective because let's say if you boycott some food, we don't make our food, right? So some people are I can't do that, right? So then it's not effective like what happened in the 60s, right? Because in the 60s, the reason why it was effective because most of the Black people refused to take the bus. And that means people walk several miles to work, or some people couldn't get to work. But it was a unified front.
Yes.
Now, when you do that, you know how it's going to happen. People will find ways and they'll get on a bus somehow, right? And so my thing is this. When we do the group economics, there's two ways. As we educate our people it makes sense to do that, to support your own, we also have to be cognitive, and we also have to be like thoughtful in terms of what industries we go to, be more like offer like another competitive option. And so if you say don't buy here, okay, if I need these things, where do I go? You see what I'm saying? But if you say don't buy these things and the person needs these things, then the chances of that being effective is probably slim, right? And so the issue too is this, is we are the only group too that tends to put all our business out there. And so if we want to do something, you keep it in-house, you strategize, and you go execute. period, because it's a competitive world. If I have an adversary who's planning to do something, I know about it, obviously I'm going to exercise all the options that's going to make me, dominate that field. And so that is the one thing that we need to, if you're telling people, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, if you don't give us this, we're going to do that, and that kind of stuff. Then basically it's like you're giving them heads up for them to plan to destroy everything that before you started. Okay, so we lost Lisa Beatty and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that I wanted to say. So what she raised was very, very important. It's economics first, but we have a lot of work to do because that means that we may have to take a hit if we make a decision that, listen, this person is non-productive to us, and maybe sometimes too it may be another black person who's non-productive in terms of how they carry themselves, and that we may have to at least make a statement or make a stand in that kind of stuff. Let me bring this video. Okay, you
Okay,
can
a good
continue.
okay, a good point that you made when you said a unified front and when you talked about the bus boycott. When they first started, they weren't unified. People were still doing it because of the mindset, like how we were going to do this. So people who were having cars, what they did was they began to do this thing we call carpooling now.
Hmm.
See how that
Hmm.
worked?
Yep, yep.
So, but the key phrase was unified front. As I said initially, if we all work together and stop wanting, I'll give you an even broader scenario. You have all of these artists and these famous folks and all of this stuff. Okay, when they have these red carpets and these premieres and these concerts, what do? They buy these outfits by all of these oppressive companies that can be tied back to chattel slavery in the United States. Okay. But they wear that stuff because it's like a status thing, if that makes sense. Even though you know for yourself, there are some fabulous black designers. So some of them, yes, they are getting some shine now, but overall, it's minimal compared to them going out wearing Givenchy, Yves Saint Laurent, all these companies, because
Hmm.
they're looking at it in terms of a status symbol.
Hmm.
So even if you start, because it's a lot less of them and it's a lot more of us, if they started, they themselves could easily destroy the what they call haute couture fashion world if they
Hmm.
stop
Hmm.
wearing that stuff.
Correct. Yep.
So I mean, I'm saying, even though it could be baby steps, it would be explosive because they have influence. They have
Hmm.
influence. And the people who are trying to live those lifestyles would move toward that way as well. The second thing is when you talk about grassroots, all of those things started with grassroots. So with us, also getting, like, let's say, the right to vote and all of this, our ancestors in the states did all this because they wanted to enact change. They wanted the right to enact change. And even now, they've given you this right and the change still doesn't come. Okay, so let's use finance. I'm not saying it's not an uphill battle, but yes, there's somewhere we should start. There's somewhere we should start. So, okay, Evie is saying you have the AAs fighting against black immigrants in the state. Evie, all African Americans, and I don't call myself any of that. I'm black. I'm black. According to the scientific term, I'm a Negroid. That's what I am. I don't use all of these monikers to describe myself. But every African American is not fighting against black immigrants. That's a falsity. So to generalize that is wrong. I'm not saying that there are some who are not, but yes, there are, because of other reasons. The divide divisiveness is not going to get us anywhere globally. I attest to that. The divisiveness is not going to get us anywhere globally. It's going to continue to divide us, which is hence the reason why you have continental Africans and blacks in the diaspora not being collective, because of all of the propaganda that has been shrewd throughout for years to get us not to be together. And it's still going on now. They want to see us to continue to be divisive. The minute we all worldwide get together, that is going to be a problem. It is going to be a problem. So anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So before we went that route, well, I had a question for you. So I have so there's two things that I think about. One is what is happening to us, that external factors, right? And the internal factors. The external factors, which is i.e. the systems put in place globally, is always gonna be there. But I also think too, on the internal factors, which is ourselves, we can start from individually, and then within us as Black people, we need to also make strides, regardless of all these obstacles that we find ourselves in. We need to make strides. And so when we have the infighting and all that stuff, you just making the job of your enemy easier. You see what I'm saying? Because no matter what kind of tribe, what kind of group we calling ourselves these days as Black people, last time I checked, we all in the gutter. And nobody outside Black people care where your condition is. And so if you want to look in the gutter and see your brother or sister and start a fight in the gutter, that's your problem. Like, I don't really care about that kind of stuff, because nature has a way of cleaning all that out.
Mhm.
Because eventually, if we're not gonna get this shit together, eventually something's gonna happen that's gonna wipe a lot of us out. And just that's just nature. Because now we can't, 100 years from now, we don't want the next generation also make the same excuse we are making now, or still talk about the same problem we are facing now. We would hope that what we do now would at least build up. Then several generations from now, we can get out of the gutter and stand. And so for me, that is what I looked at. I don't look at what it is that other people are doing to us per se. I'm not minimizing that, but I don't think, because if I really want to do something, I think I have a 50 chance, in spite of all the obstacles. I have a 50 chance that is going to. It's just everybody's cut different. I don't think somebody really has control totality of my being. I don't think they might. Now they might put obstacles. They might deny me certain opportunities, but I'm also figuring ways to adapt, ways to understand how he moves. You see what I'm saying? What is his weakness? How can I also exploit his weakness? So I'm always thinking and processing. Okay, he moved this way. Okay, then maybe I need to go to Africa, right? Instead of first, because I can this I have this leverage on this side. So I'm always thinking about that. And those who unified, now the idea, like you said something about the clothing wear a celebrity wears and all that stuff. And I think also too, we have to stop looking at other people to decide. I like the celebrities are, to me, I look at them as individual. None of them have any influence in my life per se, because I don't let them in. Because the idea, look at it, with all the money we make in the music industry, and we can even control our record labels, right? Like, control means 100% control, not subsidiary to something. It tells you something. It tells you something's going on, right? So to me, from the outside, it looks like they're not even controlling the shots. You see what I'm saying? because I will wear what I want to wear. If I'm going African today, that's what's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? And so I feel like there's a give and take. When they get to that stardom and fame and money, there's a trade-off. And so if we look at that, and you get to a point that you don't, because you don't live in the same condition you used to live, right? Because your influence, the people around you, your environment is different. So maybe you don't feel certain sensitivities like you used to when you were hungry. And so for me, it's like, what do we do? Start with individual accountability, and then we start collectively. Look, I don't think Black people will ever unify. I don't think it's possible. The same way, if I'm saying that all the tribes in Ghana alone to be unified is not going to happen, but that doesn't mean that we hate each other. You see what I'm saying?
Of
Like
course.
if an African American comes to Ghana, I don't want him to be quote unquote become African, whatever that's supposed to mean. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Be yourself. Okay, yes, we are in a new environment, right? We're gonna figure some things out. At the end of the day, bring your strength, bring my strength. Let's work together. Let's keep this
Yes.
thing moving forward. That is what is important to me, right? Because telling him he has to be this African thing is first of all, it's not possible, right? It's not possible because he has a different pedigree, he has different experiences, and to say that people should just migrate and give away who they are, I don't think that is you can't do it. I come here, I'm African, always gonna be African, don't know what else to be but an African. You see what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
so, and I'm not giving out for any price. And so we have to do that, but most of the time we focus on things that are so trivial. To me, I call it the nonsense. That you say, listen, you have someone in front of you who has skills, and you are not even trying to figure out what it is you two can build together. Instead, you're worrying about the things that you have, they don't have, or they have, you don't have, right? And so we are never going to get to complete unity. Listen, I don't need, in a marriage, sometimes it's not unified, but that doesn't mean you can't get things done. You see, I don't have to be unified with you, but if you have skills you can bring to the table and I can bring mine, we can work. That's it. In the process of working together, we're going to build some kind of relationship, right? Because we see the value in each other. But the idea that you have to think my way, you got to move the way I move, you got to eat what I eat, you got to dress how I dress, and stuff like that, I don't think is really possible. Why people are not unified except one thing: global domination. That's it. Other than that, the French don't like the Brits don't like this, the Americans don't like this. It is like that. But it comes to one thing: global dominance. That is a unified front. And so I think that our unified front is we're catching hell everywhere we go, whether in the Caribbean, whether in the continent, whether in the United States, whether in UK, whether we're catching hell. So our unified front is listen, it doesn't matter if the African continent is doing well and the African Americans are struggling. It doesn't matter if the Caribbeans are doing well or the African Americans are doing well and the continent is struggling. Is wherever our people are struggling, we are struggling. Okay, so that is the mindset. And so the division stuff, like I don't, it's sad that our people, gravitate towards that, like they should. Some people are eating off of that, divisiveness and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, to me, have your goals, and you try to find ways that you can influence your community, and eventually you're gonna meet somebody who's on the same thoughts, and they may be from the Caribbean, they may be from anywhere in the world, and then you can work together. Is that crazy?
No, it's not crazy. It's not crazy. I have to say I agree with you in this regard. Um, I don't. I'm talking about recorded history. I don't know of any time where the world has been harmonious in recorded history. Now, if anybody out there that's watching, or if you know of one, you can let me know. But as you said, with us, um, we can disagree, but still work together to get things done. And you used a great analogy when you talked about marriage, because that is actually true. I may not agree with what you say, but we can work together for the betterment
Great.
of both of
Yep.
us. So no, I have no qualms with what you're saying. I have no qualms with that. I do just again I have qualms with divisive rhetoric between uh, blacks in the diaspora and continental Africans, and it really bothers me because it doesn't have to be that way. It just doesn't have to be that way. And I recognize, media propaganda. If you control the media, you can control people's minds. This is why we have to be selective, as you know, about what we watch, what we allow our children to watch, because television is very, very dangerous, very dangerous.
Correct.
It's imperative that we maneuver as such. So yeah.
No, it used to be, it was the white media that propagated a lot of these things, right? But now, some of us are doing a hell of a job. I mean, they are just like, the white media is just like taking a back seat, and some of our people is really, really doing a hell of a job
I totally agree.
with this kind of stuff. So for me, that is internal stuff. That's what I'm talking about, right? It's different when somebody's saying it, but now if your own people's out there, and I think some people don't have a job, I, because I look at the amount of energy that goes into saying, like, this is my clique, and that's fine. I mean, it's like I have friends from all over the places. No, that's fine, but be who you are. But it doesn't have to be just because you are this, you have to destroy the other person, because I mean, you can't do it by yourself. I mean, it's weird. Listen, no no exclusive group of black people can solve this problem. They can't. It's going to be a lot of people pulling from different places. Now, if you destroy all the potential bridges, you just making your enemy's job very, very easy. It's very,
Yes.
very easy. I have the chosen one here. Let me add it. Chosen one, can you hear me?
Okay, I'm
Oh,
going to get it. Oh, okay. I was going to say I was going to get off if they're going to come on.
Sure.
But one.
Okay.
But one.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let me say one last round, Tony. Just in terms when you talked about the media and they are the powers that be, per se, the white entities are sitting back. Yes, remember, we learn criminality from the people who invented it. Okay, it's kind of like a parent to a child. You're a parent. I'm not a parent, but children learn by example. And so when you talk about uprisings, who do we learn that from? We learned it from them. The Boston Tea Party, when they wanted to basically succeed from Britain. So we learned what looting was from them. We learned treachery, all of these demeaning and demagogue type behaviors that are being exhibited. We learned it from them. So yes, those powers are sitting back, Tony, and watching us do the job that they were doing. But keep this in mind. Those same black media outlets, they don't control anything. Your example is Byron Allen. There's a reason why he took these people to the Supreme Court, because they wouldn't allow him to broadcast his shows on their networks. We don't own any networks fully outright. If you look under like Revolt TVs and all of these entities' paperwork, you will begin to see telling stories. So even with that, there you have it. You talked about the record companies. We use them because of distribution. There's a certain group of people, you know who they are. They controlled record distribution. And now, since we are in the age of streaming, how many streaming entities do you have to control that market? A lot of times we are used for our expertise. I'll give you an example. You have a lot of, I'm in the UAE, you have a lot of Nigerians. They're very educated. They're very astute. They come here and their skill set is being used in a lot of different ways. All kinds of engineering, architecture, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So when you think about these music platforms for streaming that have been built, a lot of them were built off using Black engineers to make these platforms. And now when you look at us, which ones do we own? As you know, to own something that massive, it requires capital. But it's also something else that you said as well. You said something that is very intuitive, but even for the people who are going to watch the replay, is this. You're always looking for, okay, so let's say they control it, but you're always looking for a way that you could actually penetrate and do something where you can garner the market as well. That's important. However, it would be on a small scale if you're not a millionaire, a billionaire. And then to watch it grow or get investors to help you scale up. Because if you don't have money, if you may have that great idea, Tony, but if you like before when you had a show and we were talking about mining and all of that, mining, the equipment and all of that for industrialization takes millions and millions of dollars.
Question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you think we have the money to do it? I think we have the money.
No. We do as a collective. We don't individually. We do as a collective, Tony. We don't as individuals.
Okay. So I think there's enough Black people here, and you know, because I'm looking at the data, there's enough Black people here to build anything, even in the billions, if you want to. The question is this. The question is, because you can get a Chinese person, right? He can come here. They can use him for his skills. Next week, he'll develop something to mirror that. You see the difference, right? Because it's the thought process. You see, it's the thought process. The thought process is, I'm not going to use my skills for these people. They trained me where I went to school. I acquired the skills. Now I'm going to do for self. And so my thing is this. There's more we can do, because if we say we can't build it here, go build it in Africa. Go build a record label in Africa. It's cheaper. You see what I'm saying? We can build everything that we are depending on. We can build it. There is a question of, do we really want to do it? And it has nothing to do with even the technical skills. We have that. You see what I'm saying? So at certain point, that's why I said the external factors is always going to be there. That's not going to change. The thing we can change is the internal factors. So if we say that there's no reason we can't own a television station, we could. There's enough money that we spend on haircare. Black people spend about 90% of all the haircare products in the United States. 90 billions, right? So the money is there. But nice talking to you. The chosen one has been here for a while.
Okay, yes, go ahead. Thank you, Tony.
No problem.
Okay.
Hi.
Chosen one.
Hi.
Sorry
Can you hear
for
me?
keeping you long.
It's all right.
Yes,
It's all right. I'm not going to stay for very long. Just 2 quick points. The first point is that I don't believe there'll ever be unity. I think everybody's got to do what they can do. But I don't believe there's ever going to be unity because there's too much infighting. And then at the moment, I'm not really understanding what's going on with, there's some brothers and sisters in the States, who are sort of separating themselves off. And there's a lot of antagonism towards kind of new Black immigrants in America, which I'm not understanding that at all. What's the point of that? We're all in the gutter together. So what's their aim in sort of, I've heard people saying things like, when Black immigrants get to the States, they take, scholarships that are meant to be for African Americans and all this type of nonsense. What I don't understand is, how do Black immigrants take scholarships that are for African Americans? I need somebody to explain that to me. It doesn't make sense to me. How is that done? Do they apply for it? And then they, the people that are selecting students say, oh, we're not going to choose this African American, we'll give it to this Black immigrant. How does it work? And these Black immigrants who go to the States work as hard as anybody else and get to the positions that they're in. Nobody gives it to them on the plate. Nobody gives it to them on the plate. Are any of these African Americans there when they're working hard at night, when they've got 3 jobs, when they're driving their cabs and doing all sorts to get through college. I'd like that to be explained to me. So I don't believe, that there's ever going to be unity. I think that each of us has to do what we can do with people who are like-minded, but I'm not wasting my energy trying to be unified with people who are not interested in being unified with me. I think that's a waste of energy. And as you've said already, Tony, it's about focusing on your goals. You've got so many YouTubers talking complete trash. Yeah, people are buying cryptocurrency and you're on YouTube talking rubbish about, I don't know, Africans and Ghana's whatever year of return, all this kind of nonsense. These sort of silly infighting issues that people are creating for no reason. People are building generational wealth, and you've got black people on YouTube and in general talking rubbish, absolute rubbish that's going nowhere. I just don't understand it. That is just so sad to me because everybody else, the Chinese, the Jewish, everybody is building wealth and doing their thing. And people are sitting around talking rubbish and pure bullshit on YouTube. That's all I've got to say, Tony. Sorry for swearing.
You got a lot out of your chest. So
Yes, I
anyway,
did.
so here's my take. You like people are going to do what they have to do, right?
Mhm.
So for me, this is what it is. You have your goals, you design your goals, you design what you want for your future, irrespective even what every black person want, in a sense that there's not a unified front of what we actually even want. And so yes, is those in-house fighting knowing something, yeah, but it's like if you're focused, you have goals, you're driven, you know what is going to happen in the world, uh, you don't get caught up in that kind of stuff, right? You don't, because you don't have the time, right? Something is going to happen very, very soon in the next 10 years. Something big is going to happen to the world. And a lot of people are going to wipe out. They will be wiped
Yeah.
out. And
Mhm.
so for me, it's like, and maybe they deserve to be wiped out. Nature will
That's it.
clean up what it needs to clean up.
This is it.
Okay, so if we have all the possibilities in the world, okay, at least our ancestors was chained to a place. Not only they were physically chained, they were mentally chained, and you have all these capabilities, all these advantages in spite of all the challenges in the world, and we don't want to use that. Some of us don't want to use that, and we want to engage on those things. Then it's like hey, nature will take its course. So for me, I don't you see, you protect your mind. Your mind is the most valuable asset, and focus on your goals every day. When I get up and I look on my notes, I'm like, God damn, it's like 3 pages of stuff that I want to do. And so I can't watch some YouTube on Instagram or something like that and put energy towards that, because listen, man, is it is what it is. It is what it is. That's nature. You're gonna have contributors and you're gonna have things that is failed. And it's unfortunate that our people gravitate towards unfortunately towards that kind of stuff. But if that's what people are into, yeah, that's what it is. But I wouldn't. That thing is going to be there. That thing started, I think, 2 years ago. Actually, this infighting thing. I've been here 24 years. I've never seen anything like that. It started about 2 years ago. But I don't care. Listen, I don't care what groups we calling ourselves these days. It,
The
I don't.
FBF, Foundational
It doesn't
Black
matter to
American,
me,
all these
and it
silly
shouldn't.
names.
And it shouldn't matter,
No,
because like
no,
people,
it's not.
it's the
It's
same way.
non-progressive.
It's
It's
the same way
non-progressive.
if I meet somebody and they say they're Ewe, they're Gan, they're Hausa, this stuff that's who they are. Like I don't. It doesn't mean anything to me per se. It doesn't affect me in any way. If that's your kind of thing, that's your kind of thing. But you have to be focused as an individual. I can control what I do. I can't control what Black people do. But at the end of the day, it's like something's gonna happen. YouTube is gonna clean up soon, and stuff is gonna figure all those things out. But we'll win. go win, because like I'm working with everybody. I'm working with, Caribbeans. I'm working with some African Americans. I'm working with some other Africans. It is what it is. I don't, as long as it's not like a personal threat, when it's like that, I don't care. It's like you shouldn't be bothered. You shouldn't be bothered. Little things affect little minds. You see what I'm saying?
This is it.
And that's what I'm saying is now is that we are doing the damage the most to ourselves
This
now,
is it. And
because
actually, Tony, sorry to cut you. I actually think there's less unity now than ever. I actually think there was more unity in the 60s when you had, the leaders like Martin Luther and, Kwame Nkrumah and all these other people. They understood what they were doing. They understood what things were about. Now, I think there's less unity, and I think a lot of, Black people don't understand what's going on. Not aware of
yeah.
what's going on. They're asleep. They're
I
asleep.
mean, it's a different generation. It's a different generation, and so I think they will do what they think is important in this generation. But at the end of the day, is you are responsible for your life. You are responsible for the outcomes and your future. And if you have kids, that is what you can control. Listen, if all the Black people want to go jump in the sea, and I know it's a bad gig, I'm not getting in. Okay. And so these things will happen,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Sorry, Tony.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you for
So
having me. I
just
have to leave.
get on
Thank
your
you so
goals.
much. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Okay. Now, I don't want to keep this long. Let me see. Okay. We have some good turnout. We have Elizabeth who contributed greatly, the chosen ones who came and shared, her perspective as well. But at the end of the day is that stay focused on what you want to accomplish. That is all that is important. Some people really need to make money on YouTube and on social media, and so they would do anything, and they'll do anything, whatever it takes, right? And so you protect your mind. You watch those things. You choose to do that. But if you have if you have time to engage on those debates and that kind of stuff, then maybe it's like life is not really, you don't have a lot of things going on. Okay. So but all the same, thank you for watching. Drina, thank you for coming in. Let me give a few shout outs here. Let me see. Ken, so anyway, I appreciate you joining, and then so stay hungry, set your goals, invest in yourself. Group economics is the way. Invest in the mother nine. Have an option. Okay. Anyway, thank you. Appreciate it. Bye bye.